it's Jen with Astrology. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking another look at electional charts. So a couple weeks ago, if you watched my previous video, we did an electional chart on when is the best time to get married. So a little background, if you haven't seen that video, and if you haven't, definitely go back and watch it. It's a good one. So if you didn't watch it, a little bit about electional charts is what you're doing is you're trying to find the right time and date to do a certain thing. So it could be getting married, like the previous video. It could be about having surgery. It could be about travel, like today's video. So what you want to do is you want to have certain things show up in your chart in certain ways, and you run the chart for the date that you're planning on doing this thing. You can have a range of dates and you could narrow it down. You could have a range of time and you're narrowing it down to find the best possible time to get the best possible outcome. You want all positive things. No chart is going to be completely all positive, but you want to kind of bury the negative as much as possible. So as we did with the it's kind of the same thing with this specific chart. So this chart is for my vacation that I'm actually going on tomorrow. So we were trying to run the best time. So we're going to be traveling by car. We are going to be bringing some things. It's actually by truck. So we're going to be bringing some furniture from one place to another. So we want to see when the best time would be to go, maybe to avoid any rain that's coming up, to avoid traffic. That's a biggie. So it's normally about a 3.5 hour trip. We're going to go for about a little under a week. And so I wanted to run this chart to see what the best time we could leave. So because we both have to work, there was only tomorrow or Saturday that we could go. So I ran a couple different charts to see what the best time would be to go. So first of all, the first chart I ran was this one here. Well, I had run a few different ones, but this was one that I had come up with. So if I could, get out of work on time and we could get going on time, this was for tomorrow, traveling at the latest, leaving my home at 3:15. So to me, the vacation starts the second you shut the door, lock it, and head out. So you're out of your house, you're actually in the process of getting ready to go. So, pretty much I wanted to make sure that my chart showed, I kind of put it at the latest possible time. It could go a little bit earlier. Things won't change too much in it because I did run a few ways, but this I came up with if I was going to leave tomorrow, or we were going to leave tomorrow, this is what the chart would look like at 3:15. So the first thing you want to look at is the ascendant. So the ascendant is pretty much representing the actual event that's happening. So the trip itself, the wedding, the surgery, whatever you are running the chart for. So we have an ascendant in Libra, and it's at 23 degrees. So it is getting towards the later degrees of Libra. We kind of want to make that as late as possible, as late as we could possibly go, because any later it's going to take us into the 27th, 28th, 29th degree, which are the more critical degrees, and you kind of want to stay away from those, and those kind of show it's too late. So you want to keep it before that. So I would actually like to go a little bit before this. I'd like to go probably more around the 3 o'clock time, but we'll do our best to get out of here. And then you want to look at what the ruler of your ascendant is, or the ruler of what that trip is, that represents that trip. So the ruler of Libra is Venus. So we look at Venus, and Venus is in Leo. So with the ascendant, it's kind of in a neutral sign. It has a couple aspects that we're going to look at. I'm not sure. I'm pretty positive you can't see this very well, but I kind of wanted to go over what the aspects mean and what we want. So If it is a negative aspect, we would rather have that in a separating aspect than an applying aspect, and especially with a malefic planet. So this is a day chart because this is going to be happening during the day. So the malefics are always, in any chart really, they're always Mars and Saturn. So we have Mars is the major malefic in this day chart. Mars is up here and it is in conjunction with Venus. That I'm not super thrilled about, but it's not in a bad setting, it's not in its detriment or anything, so I'm not looking at that as too bad. Plus, it's kind of a get up and go type of sign, with Mars, it's action, it's going, and with Venus becoming into conjunction with it, a conjunction is a good aspect. So it's got a good aspect with Mars, so they can work together to make things work well. So that's kind of how a conjunction works. It's the two planets working together. The other thing you always want to look at is the moon. So the moon in this chart is in Gemini, and it is at it's right in the middle, smack dab, and it's also with the sun in Gemini. So the moon in Gemini is in also what I thought I liked about this chart is because it is in the ninth house. The ninth house represents travel. We also have the ruler of Gemini. So the ruler of this house of travel is in its happy place in Gemini. So we have Mercury in Gemini in its dignity. So it's happy there. It's feeling comfortable there. And then we have it actually in a conjunction within 2 degrees, or actually 2 minutes. It's at the same degree, but so if we left at 3:15, it would be almost exact with the moon in a conjunction. So I find that is going to be a good working together. Mars is about thinking, creating, working, doing, maybe going fast. I like the idea of going fast because that means hopefully that we'll be avoiding traffic, because that's what you want to do when you're going on a road trip, especially avoid traffic. That was my biggest thing in looking at this chart. Also rain, so we're going to be toting things along with us, so rain was a big thing. So when you think of traffic, what do you think of? You think of that it's an obstacle, it's something that stops you from getting to where you want to go. What planet reminds you of that? That is Saturn. Now Saturn is a malefic planet, so it's not great. But so we want to make sure it doesn't have any negative aspects to our moon or to our ruler of the ascendant. So here is, or even to the ascendant itself, to the first house. So I put Saturn, and I picked this time because Saturn is actually having no natural aspects to the ascendant or to Venus, which I liked. It's in a negative house that's kind of in the 6th house, which is kind of like one of the bad houses. From the first house, the reason that the 6th house is considered a bad house is because it's really not visible to the first house, to yourself. So we kind of hid that in there so that it's not really having any major aspects to anything going on over here. And then we also have Neptune in there. That's another one we kind of want to look for, because when you think of rain, you think, water, and what planet represents water is Neptune. So we have Neptune in there as well. So those are both in an unseen, are in a bad house, but they're tucked away from the other houses. So the aspects would be like 30 degree would be, or 90 degree would be a square, 60 degree would be a sextile, and that's 120 degrees, so it's called an inconjunct. So they're kind of hidden away, unseen, so hopefully the traffic will stay unseen. Hopefully the rain will stay unseen. So then we also want to look at the aspects with these planets to our ruler of our ascendant, which is Venus up here. So it's pretty much the same thing. So if you look, so 90 degrees would be here, that would be a square. You don't want that. 120 degrees, that would be trine, sorry. And then it's 150 degrees, which is the inconjunct. So it's also invisible pretty much to our ascendant ruler. So that's a good thing also. So then let's look at the moon. The moon is, what we want from this trip. What do we want, our wants, needs? Well, we want to have fun. We want it to be dry. We want it to be sunny. We have the sun in here with this. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. It means, we do have the moon with the sun. It's in a very far conjunction. They just happen to be in the same house. Mainly I'm looking at Mercury. So, and the moon is speedy, Mercury's speedy. They're conjunct in the travel house. So hopefully it'll be nice and speedy, smooth sailing. So let's look and see if the moon has any bad aspects to our two malefics. So the first malefic, again, the one that I was most worried about was the Saturn, which is about like traffic and obstacles, things like that. So there is an aspect to it, but Saturn is at 7 degrees of Pisces. So then we have our moon, which is at 17 degrees of Gemini. So they are in a square aspect, but it's a separating square. So what I'm hoping that this symbolizes is that we're going to be moving away from the bad. So all the traffic and all the problems maybe happened prior to us, and we're going to be just smooth sailing because it's all going to be behind us, because it's a separating aspect. That's 17 degrees and that's 7. So the moon's a faster moving planet, and so if it was opposite and the moon was at 7 and this was at 17, it would be an applying aspect. So that's what you wouldn't like, because you'd be heading towards the obstacles, and you don't want to head towards the obstacles. So I like that. So then the next thing I'm going to look at is the moon, and I'm just going to put it with Neptune. I know I'm kind of doing some old with new, but got to think of rain. So we have the moon. It is in an applying square with Neptune, but Neptune is at 27 degrees of Pisces. So it's a far applying square. So what I'm hoping is if we do get rain, if we do have anything like that, storms, that type of thing, it's not going to be until later on in the trip, so we can have some fun, do some sightseeing, do some fun activities, outdoor activities, and if we do have to hunker down, it won't be until the end of the, and even if it is on the way home from the trip, it's fine, because everything that we're going to be bringing up there is already going to be up there, so we don't have to bring anything back, so we don't have to worry about the rain on the way back. It's never nice to drive in the rain, but it'd be much better on the way back than on the way there anyway. So I'm pretty positive about this. Looking at even, some of the other planets, I know there's a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm trying to explain it, so if you can't see it, you might understand. So again, then we have our benefic in a chart, which is Jupiter. It's in Taurus, and it's got actually a pretty nice sextile going on with Saturn. So I am hoping that means that, the things, it's making the Saturn a little bit happier. It's not making the Saturn so negative, kind of boosting things, making things big, joyous. This is also about, this is in the 8th house, which is about other people's money. It's even about marital sex and marital, relations. So I hope the Jupiter in there, especially conjunct with the North Node, means great things for myself and my partners, are the way that we are together. We always have a lot of fun on vacation. So hopefully that means all positive things. Nothing bad's gonna happen, no fights, anything like that. So I think this chart looks pretty good, so I was happy with it. So tomorrow we are going to try and get out of here no later than 3:15. I'm hoping for 3 o'clock. So then I just wanted to show you one other chart that I did. So this one, it was going to be just in case I didn't get out of work early enough and we were going to go on Saturday. So, oh shoot, I lost my pen. So we're early risers, so we would usually probably try and get out the door by 8 a.m. or earlier. So I ran this for 8 a.m. Let me grab my pin before my cats get it and I'd step on it later. So 8 a.m. I see already the ascendant is at the 28th degree. That's already telling me that's too late. So we would have to go earlier than 8 a.m. Did I say 7 a.m.? No, I meant 8 a.m. is when I ran it. We also have the ascendant, the ruler is Cancer, and we have Cancer in, the ruler of Cancer is the moon. We also want to look at the moon for our wants, needs. So this is in the 12th house. What concerns me about that is that, you know, the 12th house is about staying in, it's about inward, thinking inward, you know, and I don't want to be kind of trapped inside the whole time. So that kind of makes me think that if we left on Saturday, you know, at this time, we would probably be stuck in the house most of the time. So, I mean, even if we left at about 7, that would still put the moon at the earlier 12th house. Just want nothing to do with that. So this wasn't a very pleasant chart that I thought. We also have, let's see, we have the ascendant here, and let's see, 360, 90. So it's still in conjunct with Saturn, but Saturn is in the 9th house. So that shows that there's going to be issues, you know, maybe some obstacles with the event that, you know, with the vacation. So there's going to be obstacles in the actual vacation. The 9th house is about travel again. So we don't want a major malefic in our house of travel when we're traveling. Also, we have Neptune now falling into the 9th house. We don't want that, because that, again, you know, that could be rain and, you know, those things that you just don't want to happen when you're on vacation. So looking at this chart, nope, not interested at all. So I'm going to do our best to leave by, again, 3:15 tomorrow. I think that everything looks really positive. So I'm going to, when we get on vacation, maybe a couple days in, I'm going to give an update, and I'll try and do a live update. So if you do want to stay tuned and see how all this turns out, please hit the notification bell so you'll see when I'm coming up, and you'll be able to watch the update to see if this all worked out like I kind of predicted it might. So of course, always, please subscribe to my channel and come with me on this journey. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And we are going to be doing our weekly forecast from our vacation place. So I think that'll be a little bit interesting. We'll see a different background besides just this all the time. So that might be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you then. Again, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell for notifications so we can see how all these electional charts turned out. See you soon. Bye-bye.